Today, we are going to dive even deeper into how you can uncover your soul's purpose. This is a process, and if you've already watched the previous 38 videos, you are well on your way. We'll start with several questions that you can begin to ask yourself, and by examining those answers, they'll give you clues to helping you uncover your soul's purpose. Are you ready? The process to uncover your purpose is real, and you can figure it out on your own, which I did in some ways, or with help like I got with the energy clearer, my past life regressions facilitator, mediums, and the angel connector. But before we begin to talk about ways for you to uncover your soul's purpose, first I want to share a story about how our paths can change. The reading I had with Thomas John at my house was very enlightening. He was communicating with Mark, and Mark had begun talking about my soul's purpose and how it had changed. Mark said, "You've done a lot of work with your soul's purpose, and you have exceeded what you set out to accomplish. And now you're on a higher and greater path." And Thomas John then elaborated and shared this story with me about how he thinks the paths work. So he began to explain that we all have a soul path that we're on, okay? And sometimes we are on a lower path because we're not quite following the way we should, or we're on a higher path. And you could liken it with this example. If you lived in Phoenix, Arizona, and you were going to go to Las Vegas, you could get in an airplane and you could fly the way that the birds do and take the quickest and shortest and fastest path to Las Vegas that way. And you get there. Or you could get in your car and you could drive along the highways from Phoenix and drive. It would take you longer than the flying, but ultimately you'd still get there. Or you could take a trip and stop maybe at the Grand Canyon in Flagstaff, Arizona, and then continue on, ultimately still getting to Las Vegas. Or he said you could get in your car, drive all the way back to Chicago, then go to Las Vegas from Chicago. Now, that would be a much, much longer path, but ultimately, you would still arrive in Las Vegas. And that's the way he explained that our soul journey works. No matter what path we're taking, we still are working towards our goal. So sometimes we take the path that is going to take us longer and maybe has a few detours or different lessons. And sometimes we exceed our expectations and get in a higher vibration and take a higher and greater path, surpassing maybe even what we planned for ourselves. So, what is your soul's purpose? Let me first say that you're not going to understand what it is after watching this video. You're not going to just know. This is going to be a process, and you may have to dig deep into some areas of your life that you have not thought about for a long time. So, I don't know if you will ever have all of the answers to this question, but let's at least begin to try to uncover what your soul's purpose is. So, first, what were you drawn to or interested in as a small child? I want you to really think back to your early childhood. Did you ever play pretend? Did you have a go to? Like maybe you were always the rescuer, or maybe you were always the boss or the nurse. I have a friend who said that she was drawn to witchcraft and she thinks that she dabbled in dark magic in a past life and now is balancing out that experience in this lifetime and using her intuitive gifts in a much more positive way. Were you always the helper by design, not by force? So, did you always want to help your mom when, or one of your siblings when you were younger? Your purpose may have its start in what you were first drawn to, and it might be worth spending a day in this area. So, at the beginning of the day, you can set the intention that you're going to go back to your early childhood you. And you're going to write down everything that you can remember being interested in activities, make believe, maybe what you wanted to watch on TV. If your mom or siblings are alive, you can ask them if they remember you in this way. Then let's go to the time in your life from the age of like 10 to 20. Did you have a particular career that you daydreamed about? I had a cousin who always knew that she wanted to be a marine biologist, and so she was drawn to live by the ocean. Did you have a place in the world that you always said you were going to live or you were always going to visit? That might be a place to explore. Were there certain TV shows that you were drawn to? They can have clues that can help you jog your memory. As an adult, did you go to school? And if you did, what did you study? What career did you choose and why? Do you live where you pictured that would live when you were younger? Why or why not? How would your life be different if you were living in a different place? I lived in Chicago for 25 years, but when I took a vacation to Arizona in 2007 to visit relatives, we made this trip to Sedona. And as soon as I entered the city limits, I was inexplicably drawn there. And I declared that I would be moving to Arizona or retiring in Arizona. I don't know what it is about living in the West, but there are a lot of people who are on a spiritual journey that are just drawn here. And people from around the world are certainly drawn to Sedona. Where are you drawn? Spend some time exploring that because there might be a past life connection or it might have to do with your soul's purpose. What are your hobbies? Do you love to cook? Do you use your cooking to bring other people together? Do you love to garden? Do people stop by your house and tell you that they love seeing your landscaping? Do you love Christmas? Do you decorate the outside of your house with lights to the hilt? Or maybe you're part of a neighborhood who does that, where all the cars drive by all season long to be inspired. There was a house out in the country that did this when I was in college, and every time I drove by, it brought me so much joy that I actually stopped one day and wrote them a thank you note and stuck it in their mailbox. You have no idea the seemingly small things that you may be doing that bring joy to many. Do you volunteer at the 4th of July to create a neighborhood fireworks show? Do you serve your community in some way? Maybe you do something with the park district, maybe you're on a board, maybe you're part of the PTA. Your soul's purpose most likely has some component of service or something that you do that helps bring joy or comfort or even laughter to others. Think about how a comedian makes people laugh, not just on stage, but probably everywhere they go. Laughter is very healing. Are you drawn to beauty and cosmetics? Maybe your purpose is making others feel beautiful on their special day, like their wedding or their prom, with the hair and the makeup that you style. Maybe you are a go to counselor or the sounding board or listener for your friends and coworkers and family. Maybe you're a prayer warrior and no one even knows what you're doing for them. Are you always positive with a big smile on your face? Because your energy can touch thousands of people who need it that way. I could go on and on and on, but are you beginning to understand? All right, so let's take a look now at your spiritual awakening. What was your catalyst? The death of someone, a life event like the loss of a job, or a loss of a significant relationship, or maybe your kids even leaving home? Is there some reoccurring theme that keeps coming up that you're drawn to explore in more depth? For me, it was mediums, not just having readings with them, but reading every book I could get my hands that explained how they worked and how they got their messages and connected with their guides. And I really think that I was never destined to become a medium, but certainly from reading all of those books, I was able to begin to learn how to understand how to connect and get messages from the other side, from my spirit team. And then people would just drop into my life who could help me connect more and more. I'm going to share a real quick story from 2008. I went to see Mariah Rame in Dubuque, Iowa, where she lived, and I had this in person class I participated in. And she explained how everybody has the ability to get medium messages. And to prove it, she had us pair up with people that we didn't know in this class. And we sat together in twos, and she asked us to take a piece of jewelry or something that we were wearing off and hand it to the other person. And then we exchanged items. So I think the girl that I was with gave me her ring, and we sat there each individually and we closed our eyes and we concentrated on that item for a long time. And then after we did that, we were supposed to take a piece of paper and just jot down every piece of information that we got, that we heard, that we saw in our mind's eyes from this piece of jewelry or whatever it was that we were holding on to. So on this piece of paper, I wrote several things. I wrote a description of what a house looked like. I saw a railroad track. I saw a train, not a commuter train, going by. I saw a white picket fence. And then I drew this picture of a crown, and I kind of scribbled in with my pen and I put an arrow on it and I wrote yellow or gold. And so then we were to take our piece of paper and read everything that we had written down, no matter how silly or stupid or insignificant it sounded, and share this with the other person. And I was really astonished that every single thing I had written down about this description of her house was completely accurate. And then I showed her the picture that I had written down of the crown, and her mouth dropped open and she leaned down and rolled up her pants leg and showed me that she had a tattoo of a crown on her leg, completely covered. There was nothing that I could have seen in advance. But then I dropped my mouth open in complete and utter disbelief that I had connected with this just from a piece of jewelry. So this is definitely a confirmation that I was able to see or hear or connect in some way with energy and use my clairs to help me uncover information that I didn't previously know. So maybe that's a way that you can begin to understand what your soul's purpose is. Or maybe you are going to be drawn to Reiki because you feel like you have the ability to heal. Maybe you have developed the ability to lead through your job and you'll sit on the board of a company where you can help improve the lives of others in some way. So, for example, my friend Jamie is this very astute businesswoman who's built a multi-million dollar rental business, and she has a passion for animals, so especially cats. And she joined a board of an animal shelter charity in Kansas City, and she saw that many animals were being killed before they could find a home. So she began to work to change that. And ultimately, she led a charge to change every shelter in her county to a no kill shelter. And then it just expanded from there and expanded to all of Kansas City, became no kill shelters. How many animals will be waiting for her on the other side to thank her? And how many people who got to have the opportunity to love those animals that would have otherwise been killed be waiting to thank her? What is on your should list? Do you say, I should be volunteering, etc.? You can also ask yourself this question: if money were no object and you didn't have to work, what would you be doing with your free time? The answer to this question could definitely be a clue for you. Look around your house. Does your house have a theme like mine does with all of the hearts? The universe could be planting subliminal clues for you as well. Okay, so now that you've examined what you can on your own, if you could meet with someone to help you uncover something spiritually, where would you be drawn? Maybe to an astral travel coach, an Akashics record reader, an angel reader, an aura reader, a channeler, an energy healer, a life coach, a lucid dream coach, a medical intuitive, a medium, an oracle, a past life or past life between lives regression specialist, a psychic, a Reiki healer, a shaman for medicine work, maybe to yoga or guided meditation, to Sedona for a vortex tour. If you don't know where to start, begin by finding books or videos to watch on your topic of interest. You will be drawn to the person that you need. And remember, you can always ask your spirit team or God to help you uncover your purpose. And lastly, do not forget about connecting to your higher self. So I really hope that you will spend some quality time thinking about these questions and that you are shown what you need to know. And if you've uncovered other questions or techniques, please share your successes and stories about your uncovering your life's purpose, because together we can all benefit. Good luck on this life-changing journey, and I promise that it will be worth the effort.